You're lying in bed. The room is dark. Your body is exhausted. But your brain? Your brain just pulled up a conversation from 4 days ago and started replaying it, word by word, looking for everything you did wrong. The clock says 2:17 a.m. You've been doing this for an hour, maybe 2. You're not even sure when it started. And the worst part? You're not thinking about something happening right now. You're thinking about something that already ended, or something that hasn't happened yet. Your mind is writing scripts for conversations you might have, planning responses to arguments that don't exist, rehearsing versions of tomorrow that may never come. This looks like anxiety. It looks like a sleep problem. But psychologists discovered something surprising. What's actually happening in that dark, quiet room is far more fascinating than that. Here's what most people don't know about the mind that won't quiet down at night. It's not broken. It's not failing you. It's doing something it has been waiting all day to do. You are not weak for this. You are not wired wrong. Your brain is not your enemy. It is doing exactly what it was built to do. And once you understand why, something about the night shifts.
During the day, you manage. That's the whole job of the day. You respond, perform, navigate. There are tasks and deadlines and faces and noise, a constant stream of input that gives the mind somewhere to point itself. Emotion doesn't disappear during all of this. It gets filed, quietly, efficiently set aside because there isn't room for it right now. But then the day ends. The screen goes dark, the house goes still, the obligations let go. And in that sudden silence, the mind does something remarkable. It opens the files. Psychologists call this the default mode network. It's the brain's so-called resting state that is, paradoxically, anything but resting. It's the system that reflects, reviews, projects, and processes. It activates the moment external demands fall away. It was never the problem. It is, in many ways, the most essential thing your mind does. But here's the strange part. It does this work best in the quiet, which means nighttime isn't when your mind breaks down. It's when your mind finally gets to work. The overthinking isn't the interruption. The overthinking is the processing finally beginning. But why does processing feel so much like drowning? Because what the brain is sorting through isn't neutral. It's the moment you felt dismissed in a meeting and smiled through it anyway. It's the text you sent that went quiet, the decision you made too fast, the thing you said that you haven't been able to stop hearing since. These emotions were real when they happened. They didn't disappear. They waited. And when they finally surface, they don't come gently. They come with urgency, because to the nervous system, unresolved things feel like open threats. You're staring at the ceiling. The room is silent, but your mind is loud. The brain doesn't easily separate a problem that is happening from a problem that might happen. Both feel like now. So it does what it knows how to do. It tries to solve it. It runs the scenario. It tests the outcomes. It prepares. Psychologists call this cognitive rehearsal. The brain practicing for futures it hasn't faced yet, replaying pasts it hasn't fully processed, searching for the version of events where everything turns out safe. What looks like torture is actually the mind attempting protection. But almost nobody talks about this next part, where this pattern actually came from. And in a moment, we'll explain why some people only begin overthinking after the house goes completely silent, while others can fall asleep the second their head hits the pillow. The difference isn't discipline. It isn't even stress. It goes much deeper than that. For many people who lie awake, rebuilding conversations and rehearsing tomorrows, this pattern didn't begin in adulthood. It began somewhere much earlier, in environments where uncertainty wasn't just uncomfortable, it was dangerous, where you had to read the room before you entered it, where getting things wrong emotionally, socially, relationally carried real consequences. The child who grew up around unpredictability learned something essential. If you think far enough ahead, if you anticipate every possible outcome, you won't be caught off guard. You won't be hurt by something you didn't see coming. The mental rehearsal was protection. The vigilance was survival. That child grew up. The environment changed, but here's the strange part. The nervous system didn't get the memo. It still treats uncertainty the same way it always did, as something that must be resolved before it's safe to sleep. The people who fall asleep instantly, many of them grew up in environments where the night was predictable, where uncertainty didn't require solving. Their nervous system learned early that rest was safe. Your nervous system learned something different, and it has been loyal to that lesson ever since, fiercely, exhaustingly loyal to the version of you that needed it most. But psychologists discovered something else going on in the overthinking mind, something that has nothing to do with the past. It's about control. During the day, so much is outside your hands. Other people's reactions, whether something lands well, how things are perceived. You navigate all of it without being able to fully steer it, and most people absorb that quiet helplessness without naming it, carrying it forward through the hours until the moment when everything finally stops. In the dark, in the privacy of your own mind, you get to rewrite it. You get to be the one who says the right thing, who sees it coming, who handles it with perfect clarity. The mind doesn't replay to punish you. It replays because in the replay, you have agency. You have a chance at the version where things go right. Think of it like an anchor thrown into choppy water, just to feel something solid beneath you. The rumination is the rope, the thinking is the grip. Even when it exhausts you, it is giving you the experience of holding on. This is the mind restoring itself, not efficiently, not always kindly, but genuinely trying. And here is the part worth sitting with. This changes as you move through life. In your teens and 20s, the nighttime spiral is often about identity, who you are, how you're seen, whether you belong somewhere. The thoughts feel existential because in many ways they are. You are still building yourself, and the stakes of that feel enormous. In your 30s and 40s, it shifts. The rumination becomes about responsibility, about all the people depending on you, the weight of what you've taken on, whether you're doing enough, whether the choices you made were the right ones. Later, it becomes about meaning, about whether things mattered, about time and what's been done with it. The content changes because the questions the self is carrying change, but the behavior stays. The quiet, relentless nighttime thinking, because it was never really about what you're thinking about, it was always about needing to feel like something is held, understood, resolved, before you allow yourself to rest. The behavior doesn't disappear, it just carries different questions through different seasons of a life. There is something genuinely tender about all of this when you step back and let yourself see it clearly. The mind that won't let you sleep is the same mind that takes things seriously. The person who replays conversations is someone for whom relationships matter enough to review. The one rehearsing tomorrows is someone who cares about showing up. The one running worst-case scenarios isn't pessimistic, they are trying to protect something, someone. The overthinking is not a flaw wearing a costume. It is care turned inward, running quietly at the only hour still enough to hold it. So if you are someone who stares at the ceiling while the rest of the world sleeps, who replays and rehearses and untangles things no one else even remembers, you are not someone who needs to be fixed. You are someone whose mind takes the world seriously, someone whose nervous system learned long ago that staying alert meant staying safe, and it has been loyal to that lesson ever since. Fiercely, exhaustingly loyal to the version of you that needed it most. The clock might say 2:13 a.m. The room might be dark and quiet, but your mind is doing what it has always done, reaching for something solid in the uncertain dark, making sure everything is held before it allows itself to rest. That is not anxiety. That is not weakness. That is a mind that has always cared too much to simply let things go. And there is nothing broken about that. There never was.